Hello everyone, my name is Megan and I am a 15-year-old photographer based in Texas. So I'm going to just talk about basically some things I would recommend and some things that you can expect from my channel or whatever this is going to go on. Most likely my YouTube, and maybe I'll make a Instagram post about this as well. But we're going to just get right into it. So I have a couple things I would recommend as a beginner photographer. Is the Nikon D3200. This is good in many ways. It's not like, it isn't like the best of the best, but it's pretty good for a beginner photographer. Because this is my first camera. I'm going to show you a lens that I would also recommend if you look at this camera. I would recommend a lens. Okay, so this is the lens I would recommend because this is pretty much the first lens I've ever had, besides this prime lens that I also have that I will be showing you as well. This is a 16 to 300 millimeter lens this is Tamron. But this is a pretty good lens. This has a pretty good, how do I explain it? So, like, for example, unlike other cameras, you kind of have to, it's pretty easy to churn. Unlike some other cameras, like ones that I can think of, Canon makes, it's a other brand. That's what I'm filming on right now. The camera I'm filming on right now is the Canon M50. It's pretty good. I like it so far. But this lens is pretty easy to churn. You're not, like, if you have it on your camera, you're not going to have to, like, all the way churn around like some Canon lenses I know. But it's pretty easy. It's a little difficult, but this is a Tamron, like I said, Tamron 16 to 300 millimeter lens. It's pretty good. I love the f-stop goes to 3.5. That's the lowest it'll go. The focal point and all the fun stuff. And a feature that I love that a lot of lenses kind of don't have is a lock feature. You can lock it and now it won't go. Love that. It's not necessarily needed, but it is pretty good to have, especially if you're traveling. But this is a good lens to start off with, and then I will show you a prime lens that I also suggest if you are starting off. Now this is a 50 millimeter lens. Nothing too special about it. It's just a prime lens. Unlike other lenses, you need to pop it off. This one you need to pop it off and like click it back in. But this one, you have to churn and then you can take it off. But they can easily just click it that in. But this one is cute. It's a little prime lens. And you can have your autofocus, your manual focus, which I would suggest, depending on what type of photography you're doing. If you're doing like sports photography, I would do autofocus. But if you're doing like still life or like still photos or like, for example, what I do manual focus for animals. I'll show you a couple of examples of what I have taken. I think I'm a pretty good photographer in my standards. But I do have an ego when it comes to this stuff. But anything else I don't have an ego for. But this is a good prime lens if you're wanting to start off. Prime lenses are pretty good for like car photography. They're also pretty good for portrait photography. Those are the ones I can think off the top of my head. But there are many things you can use for prime lenses. But those are like pretty good main categories you could use them for. Now, besides beginner stuff, if you're not exactly a beginner but you're not exactly a pro, that's what I consider myself. I'm not like a pro, but I'm also not a beginner because I've been practicing photography for about 11 years. I took interest since I was 4, so it's been going on from there. And I got around 2020. So I got this Nikon D3200 around 2020, maybe a little bit before that, but this was a good camera to start learning. And then whenever I got my new camera that I love now, it really opened my world. But this is a really good beginner camera. But besides beginner, besides all that, I would suggest if you're more of like a intermediate, we're going to go with the intermediate. This is a Nikon D7500, my favorite camera as of right now of mine. I've used my school's camera, which those cameras are like, they're mirrorless. So technically these are old school cameras, technically, but I still love Nikon. Canons are really good. It's just, there are certain critiques about it that I kind of hate. But besides that, this is like I said, a Nikon D7500. It is really good if you are not like, if you're more of a beginner, I would say. So unlike the D3200, the screen comes out. And that was something I was really looking forward to when I was getting this camera. You do have to be careful because once you break this, it's kind of difficult to replace, and it just costs more money for you. But okay, so this camera doesn't come with this. It has like a smaller viewfinder cap. I'm gonna call it viewfinder cap. I don't think it's called that, but that's what I'm calling it. But yeah, so this is the viewfinder. You can get like accessories for it, and then if you look at your LCD screen, that's what this is called, by the way, if you didn't know. I'll do like a whole like camera parts for certain cameras eventually. It's just I don't have much to work with, and maybe if my dad would lend me, he probably would. I can go through his cameras and do like reviews about those, and I could use them someday. You know, just like a review channel for review stuff. But your LCD screen is here, viewfinder, all the fun stuff. But I love how the LCD screen does come out. I love that. But, so I'm also referring to, right now, whenever it comes down to Canons, they know where the good point is for, like, scrolling, when you do your scroll on photos and whatnot. They have, like, a churn thing right here that you churn instead of like a clicking thing. I love that. That's so much. That is better than this for like this part. But that's besides the point. This is a good camera I would suggest getting. And it doesn't come with this part. Oops. This part right here, it does not come with that. I put that on there because if I ever did like videography, I have an attachment that I put on here and I can actually like look. I'll probably show you it eventually. Maybe. But it's a cool attachment, but it does not come with this. So the batteries are different than the 3200. I was meaning to show you the one of the 3200. But so these are the, I don't know if that's focused, but this is the Canon. I keep saying Canon, sorry. This is the Nikon 7500. I'm sure there are like other stuff that you can do, but this is, I don't think this is by Nikon. I think this is a third-party thing. Yeah, I think this is a third-party thing. Same with this battery for the 3200. But these are different. It's good and bad, but I have a lot of these batteries. I don't have a lot of these because my 7500 is a little newer than my 3200. This is just a good camera to go next if you still like Nikon. A lot of Nikon users, yeah, a lot of Nikon people do not like Canon, and I used to be like that way for a while until I started using my school's Canons. So I was using a Canon for a pep rally today at my school. I think those were, yeah, a Canon R5. That's the new ones that my teacher got. I love it so far. That was a really nice thing to work with for today. But I got some really good shots on it. And maybe I'll upload some. But I don't know if I can. Just because it's from my school. And I personally don't want to get in trouble for that. So besides my Nikon D7500, these are both really good cameras. Also, since I suggested a lens for my 3200, but lenses are for specific things. Like for example, whenever I was at a pep rally a while ago for my school, I had a kind of sports type lens on, and I didn't bring a second lens because I didn't think I was going to take photos individually of people or a big group. That happened to me. I was taking photos of like personally, so I had to back up, and then a group asked me to. It was like the cheer team group or whatever the other one is, but the cheer team group or whoever it was asked me to get a group photo. Like the coach told me to, or asked me to, if I could take a photo of them. So I did. So they were on one side of the gym, and I was on the other side of the gym because I actually had I don't know if I have it on me. Yes, I do. This is the lens I had on me at that time. This is a 70 to 200 millimeter lens. I love this. Don't get me wrong, but it is not good for group photos. So there are certain lenses for certain things. For example, I talked about it. This lens is good for portrait photography or sports, or not for car photography. But if you go to my Instagram and you go to right now, it's my most recent post, but I'm going to post it. It's a red Camaro. It is a really nice Camaro. I was actually walking to my dad's car from the Fort Worth Zoo, and we saw that. So this is a 50 millimeter lens, and this is, like I said, is good for car photography or portrait photography. Really good for portrait. And then, for example, like this lens, 16 to 300 millimeter, really good for group photos. Really good for group photos. Because it goes to 16 millimeter. And then if you want to get really zoomed in, it goes to 300 millimeter, which I love that. And pretty easy to turn. Like I don't know if I talked about it yet, but it's really nice and easy to turn. Unlike some Canon lenses I know, you have to like basically break your hand, and kind of makes you lose steady hand on your camera. That's just what I've found out, or like kind of seen and experienced. But like, no hate to Canon lenses. It's really, you just got to turn a lot for a lot of their lenses. But this is good for group photos. I love this lens. This is a lens I've been working with for a while. But this lens, this is a Tamron, and this is a 70 to 200, I think I said that probably, but 70 to 200 millimeter lens. I love this thing. And the good thing about it, it's really easy to zoom in right here. This turn knob thing. It's really easy to zoom in and zoom out. And it's smooth with it. Like, it's smooth. I love it. And then the focus is also smooth. So this lens is really good for like sports photography, or like I'm mainly talking about football. This lens is good for football if you're closer to the player instead if you were on the sidelines. Because if you're on the sidelines, you're not going to get really good photos. But if you're closer to them, depends on how close they are. But if you're closer to the players, it'll look better. But if you aren't on the sidelines, and you are closer, I would definitely recommend this lens for that. But speaking of going into football and that stuff, if you really want to do film football, I have a perfect lens. I don't remember this off the top of my head. Okay, this is a 150 to 600 millimeter lens. Now this is perfect for football or sports photography if you're further away. I would suggest if you were if you were photographing football, I would suggest bringing a monopod. It's easier for football specifically. Basketball, I haven't done anything with basketball. I could in the future, but not right now. This one's really good. This is, like I said, is a 150 to 600 millimeter. I've used this for a lot of my a lot of my animal photos, my wildlife and all that fun stuff. I like really getting close up on them, and it's kind of more difficult to churn. That's the one thing I don't like. It's just difficult to churn. Like if I had my camera, right? If I had my camera, like without letting go, it's difficult. Unless you want to do like twice. And this one also has a lock mechanism, just like the other ones I was talking about. But overall, this lens is really good for like football and all the fun stuff like that. But when it all comes down to different types of photography, I would suggest different types of lenses. It's just all different, and I can't recommend you one specific lens. But if I could recommend 2 lenses, it would most likely be the 16 to 300 millimeter and the 50 millimeter prime lens. These are really good if you're just starting out with photography and you want to get like animal photography and portrait, or like cars, or not car, like sports or like racing photography for that stuff. It's not good for that. But it's really good for car photography if you just want to take this still photo of it. But overall, all these lenses and body cameras are really good for certain things. But besides my lenses and the body cameras, I am filming on a Canon M50. I personally think it's pretty good. Like, I love this camera. And I will record it. You're going to see my not so good setup, because I'm right now sitting on the floor. Okay, so this is my setup currently. I know it's not good, but I don't do this stuff very often. This is all my gear, but I have it out right now. It's very chaotic. I know. But as I was saying, this is the Canon M50. It's a good brand or good camera if you want to record with. But the thing with also, I realized it looks unsteady. It's fine. But this is what I'm recording on. There's my sibling. Okay. But they killed this brand a while ago. They killed the M50. But whenever it did come out, a lot of famous people like photographers really, it was a good camera for a while, and then they came out with better. But I do have a couple lenses for this camera. It's pretty good, but look at my settings right now. Let's turn my thing back on. There we go. Now I got better settings. But yeah, that's the Canon M50. I love it. It's pretty good. Okay, so my camera died, and I tried changing the battery, but all my batteries were dead, and I really don't feel like going in and charging it and having to postpone this video into editing in another day, because I'm planning on editing whenever I'm done with this. So honestly, it's fine. But so I'm just gonna say thank you for watching if you did, and go follow me if you really want to see more of my stuff. Yeah, my Instagram is Megan's Photography Essentials, and I think my YouTube is Photography with Megan. I don't remember it off the top of my head. I know I should, but I really don't. I'm just gonna be real. I don't remember off the top of my head. Also, this is the first time I've used this.
You could also put your YouTube and your
yeah, in the video.
In the description or whatever. Hello.
Thank you so much for watching and taking your time to watch my video or whatever you're watching this on. So just expect more things like this in the future. I gotta go charge batteries. So thank you. Say bye.
Bye-bye.
Do I even have the lens? Let's find it. Okay. I'm gonna do that. Make sure my angles are good. Okay. My phone died.